Something is happening right now that a lot of people still refuse to understand. Across social media, in comment sections, and during heated political debates, one question keeps coming up. Why aren't more black Americans joining migrant protests? Why aren't they showing up in large numbers? Why aren't they taking to the streets? Why aren't they treating this issue like their own emergency? And now, more black Americans are finally saying exactly why. The answer is making some people very uncomfortable. Because according to many of these voices speaking out, this is not about hatred. It is not about celebrating anyone is suffering. And it's not about wanting families to be torn apart. For many, it comes down to something much deeper. History, reciprocity, political priorities, and a growing feeling that black Americans are constantly expected to fight for everybody else while their own problems remain unresolved. So let's get into it.
African Americans have finally decided, find somebody else to do it. That's why they're not protesting, okay? They finally decided that they are not going to be anyone's pawn in these political games anymore, in this political theater, the political theatrics. They're not going to be bothered. They're going to be at work or at home or, creating. And that's that. And I'm very happy because where's the money? Where are the billions of dollars that were stolen? Okay? Because guess what? The people who work hard and pay taxes, they have a right to know. Like, there's no more distracting people. Everyone is smarter than that. And I think that's where African Americans stand right now, is that they're not going to keep on speaking for people who every time they get in office, they completely forget about them, and they just use them, every 4 years. Find somebody else to do it.
Where's the lies at? And then these entitled people have the audacity to turn around and tell you, because you don't want to be used anymore, that you don't want to be used anymore, you're next. And you know what the response is? We always been targeted. But there's something that the immigrants have that we never had. We don't have burner lives, right? They're like cats with 9 lives. They already burnt one of their lives in wherever country they came from, came over here, and they got another life to live. But this life is furnished with furniture on a taxpayer's expense. You get to live in an exclusive luxury hotel in one of the most expensive cities, not only in the nation, but the world, New York City, for 2 years. All your food is paid. All your vices is paid for, clothes, whatever. Once that 2 years run out, they give you an apartment, furnish that apartment for you. Once the taxpayers' money run out, you guess what they do? Advocate for more taxpayer money, right? So you didn't basically had a 4 years of taxpayers funding your lifestyle. What American, aside from black Americans, we already know we always been targeted, but what other American had these type of opportunities, right? And then they talking about whenever there's a social injustice or a social issue where they want people to shield and cape and literally be pew pew bags. Oh, black Americans, come out, please, black Americans. And when it comes time to reciprocate that energy or that investment, because that's what you're doing, you're investing into something. Usually with an investment, you get something, a return. Not in this case, you just get used. And you know what they say? If you do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, but those results never change, you know what that's called, right? You know what that's called. So why continue to go through the motion? Why continue to be used and none of that is never reciprocated? It's never poured back into you. It doesn't make sense. They over here working on their first life, second life, third life, fourth life, fifth life, 9 lives like a cat, where we haven't even had one life of opportunity, one life of chance as a collective whole as black Americans. And this is where I land my plane at. Love or hater, I don't know what her motive is, but that's facts. I don't care. That's facts. In Minnesota, you think we forgot?
I wish y'all stop getting on here asking where black people at. Where are the black people? Why they not protesting? Where were y'all at? When we needed y'all to show up to the polls and vote, where were y'all? This is something y'all knew was gonna happen. So I don't understand why y'all keep asking where the black people are. We're at home, moisturized and unbothered. Do I think what's happening is wrong? Absolutely. I think it's inhumane. I wish it would stop. But where's y'all accountability? Because this is what y'all voted for. Everybody told y'all this was gonna happen. Y'all didn't want to vote for Kamala because y'all said y'all wasn't voting for her. She was a democratic, and just because she a black woman, she don't know, she unqualified. And look what we got. A toddler on a tyrant. So y'all go out and y'all protest and y'all march and y'all do what y'all can, but stop asking where the black people at. Because where were y'all when we went to vote? We was asking y'all to vote like y'all lives depended on it. Ours included. Did y'all? Absolutely not. So hang that up. Flat screen.
Y'all want black people to protest. Y'all want us to petition. Y'all want us to march. Where were the votes? Where were y'all at in November? Because that's really all we needed from you. That's all we asked of you. Where are the votes? You want us to march? Why don't you march your ass to them polls and vote for Kamala? Every marginalized group want black people to fight. When are we going to win? I'm tired of just fighting for everybody else to win. When do we get the W? Because this funny thing happens. Every time we get out there and start fighting for everybody else gets the W. They get to take home the trophy. They get to take home the ring. But black people just get stuck with the fight. So let's try it the other way. How about y'all fight and we take home the trophy and the ring and the W? How about that? Y'all spent a year and a half singing and dancing. I will vote for Donald Trump. Y'all sitting up there shaking shoulders and shit. And now your rights being taken away. Now you're getting kicked out of a country that you came here in the right way. You came here the right way. Y'all, a lot of y'all are going through the correct process. Y'all are actually doing what you're supposed to do, and you're still getting kicked out. It's not the system, it's the person. You voted this person in, and now you're suffering the consequences. I really ain't got too much sympathy, mainly because all of this shit was avoidable. All you had to do was vote. That's all you had to do. But you decided to do the fool and vote for your boy, and now here we are. So you either wait your 3.5 years and we try it again, or next year during midterm elections, you can get the right people in Congress that'll actually make a move for you, because representation in there, they ain't doing shit but what that man says. So unless you decide to vote blue, you gonna have to get out. You gonna get flued out the country.
A lot of people got mad at me when I said this is not black people's fight and that we're on a couch for a reason. And I just want to remind you guys of something. This is a projection of the 2024 presidential election exit polls. And when I say this is not black people's fight, I say that because 85% of black people voted for this not to happen. And when you look at all the other races, you can tell that there's a significant amount of votes that could have stopped this from happening. When I said that y'all wasn't out there fighting for us, I'm not talking about the 41% of YT people. I'm not talking about the 52% of Hispanic Latino, the 54% of Asian, the 42% of POCs. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about the 57% of YT people that voted for this and the 2% of YTs that voted for somebody completely else. I'm talking about the 46% of Hispanic Latino people that voted for this. 46%, that's dang near 1 in every 2 Hispanics who voted for this. I'm talking about the 39% of Asians. That is a significant amount for this projection. This other is POCs, and this is what gets me, is that y'all lump black people and POCs together. No, we are not together. 54% of POCs voted for this. 54%, that is literally 1 in every 2 POC who voted for that. And don't get me wrong, there's not words created to show how bad I feel about everything that's going on right now. And even though I'm saying this is not our fight, I'm still doing everything I can to show the injustices of what's going on right now. But to say that there aren't enough black people out there protesting right now is absurd to me, because we've been fighting, we've been trying to tell you guys about the injustices of what's going on, and you guys are just now seeing it. So yeah, I still stand on what I said, that black people need to be on the couch and this is not our fight. But let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next one.
So there's been this online discourse about why black people aren't out there protesting more, ain't out there on the front lines more, and saying that this isn't our fight. Some of my mutuals are into it and they beefing with each other, but I'm gonna try to explain to those people who don't know and don't understand why black people ain't out there. I'm gonna explain to y'all, and I'm gonna try to do it quickly because I want to do a longer form, but that'll be on a different platform. So here we go. I was born in 86, right? Throughout the 90s and the 2000s, one of the things that kept being said about black people is, they need to build up their community. Why don't they build up their own neighborhoods? Why don't they own their own businesses? Why ain't they doing all this stuff? They commit the most crimes. They're the main ones on welfare and all this other stuff. And they're the main ones with affirmative action and DEI and all this other stuff. And we believed all the stuff and negative stuff that they were saying about us, our community, and our culture, right? Right. Now, fast forward to where we are now, where a lot of us are doing our research on this stuff and realize a lot of the stuff that they were saying about us was just straight up lies. We don't commit the most crimes in this country. We're not the main ones who benefit from welfare programs. We're not the main ones who benefit from DEI and affirmative action. And regardless of anything that has ever been said against us, we still find time to laugh, smile, build up, take care of our families, and do all of that stuff. And we're learning that all that stuff that they said about us was lies. We also learned that a lot of the stuff that our ancestors fought for, the people who do benefit the most from that stuff, are the ones who will talk trash about our community and about our culture and don't even understand it. And now we're feeling offended because you guys are benefiting from the stuff that our ancestors fought for, but yet are the same ones talking some of the most trash about us. And y'all want to wonder why we're not fighting? We fought for y'all back in November 2024. We fought for y'all. Y'all didn't fight for y'all because it was a hectic time during that election. And that election showed black people one thing, that we are more on accord than y'all have been leading us to believe. Even black women, y'all had black women thinking that white women were going to stand by their side more than black men until them election results came in and we realized we actually are more together than apart. And, you know, of course, we can blame it on a couple of loudmouths with a podcast mic, but it is what it is. So we're looking at it like, nah, y'all got yourselves into this mess. What we're going to do is build our community like y'all been saying we need to do, and y'all can go deal with this. In fact, don't ask where the black people are at. Why don't you go ask all them random TikTokers who suddenly got political and told y'all not to doggone vote or try to vote for a third party, that as soon as the election results came in, all of a sudden, they don't talk about politics no more. Ask them to go help you. Don't ask us. That's the reason why. So just in case you need to know, that's the reason why.
I have been struggling on how to say this, and I made a video earlier. I took it down, but y'all are focusing on the wrong people. Y'all are focusing on why don't black people care what Trump is doing. We do. But we're focusing on us and ourselves to survive through this. What y'all need to be focused on instead of, well, why aren't black people actively protesting and doing all the things that they usually do? One, because we told you we're not going to do that anymore. Okay? We told you. Y'all didn't listen. Two, because we can't help you as much as the people you need to help you. Okay? You need white people. You're focusing on black people, you need to focus on white people. You need to get their attention, their compassion, their empathy, their social and political power. You're focused on the wrong people. You're focused on the wrong demographic. Black people don't make up the vast majority of this country. We don't make up the vast majority of politicians. We are not in the White House. I'm telling you, you need to focus on white people and getting them to actively care and campaign and protest in your name, in your favor, and leave black people alone.
Why aren't black people helping Latinos riot against ICE in LA? Let's talk about it. There are three types of black people who are sitting these protests out. Number one, the black Trump supporter who voted for deportations. Number two, the Kamala Harris supporter who voted overwhelmingly for Kamala, and then saw that Latinos overwhelmingly voted for Trump, and they're like, y'all need our help now? Oh, hell no. And number three, the older black people who are like, what are y'all up to? Oh, and there might be one other type of black person too. The kind of black person that hears something like this.
I don't think black people have a right to tell white people or Hispanics what they can and cannot say. And that means if a black person wants to use the N-word, that means a white person also can use the N-word, because all lives matter, not just Black Lives Matter. So with that said, we need to stop cancel culture. It is anti-American. It is anti-free speech. And if you can say the N-word, so can I, whether you like it or not. It doesn't affect your freedom, but you're sure affecting mine by telling me that I can't say it because I'm not black. So make the N-word great again.
Okay, well, how about we make ICE great again too, bitch? It's a little weird that not only are Latinos pressed, But white folks are asking, why aren't black people out there protesting? Y'all usually ask, why are we protesting? It's almost as weird as this roll-off full of rocks that just so happen to be right in LA, right where the riots are, all cut off evenly, no construction around, just so happen to be there so people can start throwing them. Is that why y'all want black people out there? So y'all can get staged video footage to roll on cable news all night long showing unity and violence against Trump? Stop trying to use us. And all I keep hearing is, blacks and browns, we gotta stick together. Blacks and Latinos, we're brothers, we're one. Okay, well, I'm gonna need you to have that outlook for more than just rioting and violence. I'm gonna need you to have that in the job market too, because blacks can't get a job in LA. Latinos hire Latinos, whites hire Latinos. If you don't come to LA already in a job that moved you to LA, or you own your own business, you're not working in LA. You know who's working in LA? All the people that they want us to protest to come here. So black people, the next time you're asked why aren't you out there protesting with the Palestinians or with illegal immigrants, just let them know you put in the same amount of effort that they put in to get black reparations.
For years, black Americans have been viewed as one of the most reliable protest groups in America. When there is a civil rights issue, people expect black Americans to speak. When there is discrimination, people expect black Americans to organize. When another community feels targeted, people often look towards black American activists, black voters, black churches, and black figures for support. But now something appears to be changing. A growing number of black Americans are asking, why is our participation automatically expected? Why is solidarity treated like an obligation instead of a two-way relationship? And why do some people only seem to remember black political power when they need bodies at a protest? That is the first major reason behind this review song. Some black Americans are tired of what they see as one-sided solidarity. Many black Americans are looking back at decades of struggle and asking a simple question. When our communities were dealing with failing schools, unemployment, discrimination, violence, displacement, and economic decline, who consistently stood with us? When black families raised concerns about housing discrimination, who showed up? When black workers raised concerns about job competition and wages, who listened? When black neighborhoods complained about being ignored by politicians, who made those issues a national emergency? Black Americans have got unfinished business. For many people, the idea that black Americans should immediately redirect their energy toward immigration protests feels very disconnected from what is happening inside their own communities. There are still major concerns about wealth inequality, home ownership, education, employment, healthcare access, neighborhood safety, business ownership, and political representation. So when people demand that black Americans prioritize protests, some respond by saying, why should we abandon our own agenda? That does not necessarily mean they lack compassion. It means some black Americans are becoming more protective of their time, vote, money, and political attention. Many black Americans online say they remember anti-black comments coming from individuals in immigrant communities. They remember stereotypes. They remember disrespect towards black culture. They remember tensions in workplaces and neighborhoods. They remember being told that black Americans are lazy, that they complain too much, that they should simply work harder. And now, when immigration enforcement becomes a major issue, some of those same black Americans feel they are suddenly being asked for solidarity. That creates a serious question. Can you disrespect a community and demand that the same community rescue you tomorrow? Of course, no immigrant population is a monolith. Millions of people have different beliefs. It would be wrong to blame an entire ethnic group for the behavior of individuals. But it would also be dishonest to pretend that anti-black attitudes have never existed across different communities. And for some black Americans, those experiences have got consequences. Another argument gaining traction is that black Americans are tired of being treated like a permanent political army. Think about it. Every election cycle, politicians talk about the black vote. Every major protest movement, people ask where black activists are. Every coalition, Black Americans are told unity is necessary, but some are now asking, unity for what? Who benefits? What is the actual agreement? And what does Black American receive in return? That is a major shift. Because instead of automatically joining coalitions based on emotional language, some people are demanding specific political outcomes. They want to know what happens after the protests, what policies change, what resources reach Black Americans, what communities are made, and if there are no clear answers, some are choosing not to participate. So to conclude, these are my final thoughts. So why are some Black Americans refusing to join immigrant protests? For some, it is frustrations over one-sided solidarity. For others, it is a desire to prioritize Black issues. For others, it is resentment over past disrespect. And for many, it is simply the belief that every community has got the right to choose its own political allies. You may agree, you may strongly disagree, but one thing is becoming clear. Black Americans are increasingly rejecting the idea that their participation should be automatic. And that raises a much bigger question for America. Can political coalitions survive if communities no longer believe solidarity is reciprocal? Or are we entering a new era where every group openly prioritizes its own interest first? That is the conversation, and I want to hear from you. Do you believe Black Americans should join migrant protests? Or do you believe Black Americans have got every right to say we are not joining? Drop your opinion in the comment section below and keep it respectful. Thank you for watching to this end, and I will see you in the next video.